The following story and photos are from GiantPandaKing's book, Gotham 1919 to 1939, by Russell S. Beatty, available from www.giantpandaking.com. Viewer discretion is advised. The Batman had little to no time for distractions from his crusade against crime in Gotham. This included romance of any kind. Still, Bruce Wayne was only human. He had a reputation as a playboy, and he would frequently make sure to be seen in public with his dates as Bruce Wayne. As the Batman, there were only a select few who chose to love him, and even fewer with whom he chose to reciprocate that attraction. One such person was Talia al Ghul. During his time training with the League of Assassins, Bruce was introduced to Talia al Ghul. She was the second daughter of one of the most powerful men in the world, Ra's al Ghul. Ra's, as the leader of the League, had final say in most matters. Her older sister's name was Nyssa. At first, Talia was jealous of Bruce. She could see that her father saw Bruce as the son he had never had. She took great pleasure in sparring with Bruce. The first several times they sparred, she left him sprawled on the ground. After much of this, and much practice, Bruce began to defend himself. Talia began to grudgingly respect the new recruit. He showed great promise. Eventually, this grudging respect evolved into attraction, one that was reciprocated by Bruce. Talia was young and optimistic, and Bruce was focused and driven. The two entered a passionate relationship, but tried to keep it a secret. Unbeknownst to them, Ra's picked up on the mutual attraction between Bruce and Talia right away. And when Bruce left the League's ranks suddenly, Ra's forbid his daughter from traveling to Gotham. He wanted her to stay away from Bruce. This did not stop Talia al Ghul. Growing up in the League, and surrounded by mostly men, Talia learned to value herself very highly. She further proved this with her combat prowess. The only person she had met whom she considered an equal, apart from her father, was Bruce Wayne. This was why she loved him, and this was why she disobeyed Ra's. She wanted to learn why Bruce had left so suddenly without so much as a goodbye. She felt a sense of betrayal and wanted answers. Talia traveled to Gotham to find Bruce. It did not take her long to find him. He was clearly using the tactics he had learned from the League in his crusade as the Batman. She confronted the vigilante, demanding answers. Bruce apologized, stating that he had not left because of her. He had left because Ra's had wanted Bruce to become the successor to the role of Demon's Head, leader of the League of Assassins. He had told Ra's that he would not kill, and Ra's stated that if this were the case, he would never lead the League. Bruce had left the next day. Bruce told Talia all of this, and he stated that as much as he cared for her, his mission in Gotham could not include their relationship. It was too much of a distraction in his mind. When O-sensei came looking for her, Talia left Gotham, angry and heartbroken. But she did not leave before she shared one last night with Bruce. Years after this night that they shared, Talia would return to Gotham. This time, she would not be making her journey alone. This time, her son Damian joined her. Again, it did not take long for Talia to find the Batman. Even as a detective, Bruce did not need those skills to see that the boy was his son. Bruce was shocked by the news that he was a father. He had taken on wards over the years, but having a biological child was new territory for him. Damian bore some of his father's physical characteristics, but also the demeanor of his grandfather, Ra's al Ghul. Talia told Bruce of how she had conceived and borne their child after their last night together. Bruce could see that the optimistic young woman Talia had been was gone. She had become much more like her father, dangerous, calculating, and cruel. She had brought Damian to meet his father and presented the child with a choice: to return with her to the League of Assassins, or to stay and train under his father's tutelage. To give Damian time to consider these options, Talia and Bruce decided to have Damian live at Wayne Manor for the time being. All that the boy had known of his father up until this point was what he had read about Bruce's public life as a wealthy playboy, and the newspaper clippings and stories of the Batman's exploits in Gotham. Damian had built up an idea in his mind of the mythical figure his father seemed to be, an expectation that fell short upon reading the actual man himself. Their relationship was one that did not come naturally. Bruce had a hard time finding his footing as a father figure. Alfred had more or less raised Dick and Jason, and Tim had been older than both of them when taking on the mantle of Robin. Likewise, Damian found being his father's son distasteful. He was used to the hard life of being in the League of Assassins where it was kill or be killed. His father's approach was too mild, too merciful towards criminals, in Damian's mind at least. Despite this rocky start, it didn't always stay that way. Damian chose to stay in Gotham with his father. Talia returned to the League and her father. In the months leading up to the Shadow War in 1934, Damian would train with the Batman, even accompanying him on a small number of missions in Gotham while wearing a mask. Damian's training with the League was obvious to Bruce. The boy's brutality in dealing with criminals knew no bounds. Bruce worked specifically to help Damian rein in his violence, teaching him that, in some instances, less was more. Damian was reluctant to accept this at first. He considered showing mercy to be admitting weakness to one's enemies. But over time, Damian learned compassion, not just intellectually, but in practice. The Bat Team was just as shocked as Bruce to learn that he had a son, but they also welcomed Damian into the fold. Nightwing took on an older brother role for Damian, much to the boy's chagrin. Oracle found Damian's sharp retorts amusing and enjoyed trading sarcastic remarks with him. Jason Todd, someone already with patience in short supply, was often annoyed by Damian. Jason saw the parallels between Damian and Bruce and would constantly bicker with the boy. Eventually, the annoyance turned into good-natured bickering. Damian and Ace the Bat-Hound got along very well. Ace stood almost as tall as the boy, but would constantly stay by his side. Alfred and Bruce found this amusing. They considered that Damian's disciplined upbringing in the League caused Ace to respond well to his commands, almost as if the dog could sense it. Overall, Damian was welcomed into their circle. Tim Drake, the current Robin at the time, could see that Damian's presence was inevitably leading to one place, the son of the Bat being the next to take on the role of Robin. This would cause some contention between Tim and Damian later on, and Damian would not take on the mantle until after the Shadow War. Even though Damian and Bruce's meeting had been one the Batman hadn't expected, it turned out to be a positive prospect. The relationship between father and son eventually became less forced, and the two gained a great respect for each other. Damian was proud to be a member of the Bat Team, even if he had not yet taken on a persona. Something that the boy dreaded, however, was the conflict that was becoming very obvious. Tensions were high, and everyone knew that the League of Assassins had its sights set on Gotham. Damian was conflicted within. He knew he would have to choose between his father and his new family, and his mother and the family he had been raised in. The war between the Bat Team and the League would be a bloody one, and Damian dreaded it. He would never admit this to his newfound allies or his father, but he felt it nonetheless. He would have to choose between helping to preserve Gotham or helping to raise it. It was not an easy choice, especially for one so young. Whether or not Damian admitted these things to Bruce, Bruce knew that his son would be facing this decision. He did his best to make it known that he would have Damian's back, that he would support him no matter what. In the Shadow War, Damian would have a crucial role to play, one that could decide the fate of Gotham City and the people who lived within it. Would he choose mercy and compassion, or would he choose vengeance and destruction? Only time could tell, and no one could make that decision for him. The war was coming.